Alright, I've already added in pectin enzyme, so I'll put about a half teaspoon. And I added in the yeast nutrient, put in a teaspoon of that. Put 1 crushed Camden tablet to kill off any existing yeast. I boiled this, so I boiled some distilled water in it and let it steam it to sanitize it. And then I'm going to add in the sugar, but I'll do that last. I'm going to go ahead and add in the juice. Now, these have a lot of acidity to it, so you've got to dilute it. And on the recipe I wrote in the book, 12 cups of distilled water with 12 cups of juice. So that I didn't have to put in 12 cups, I put in 4 cups this time because I had already put distilled water in when I made the juice. So that helped thin out or dilute some of the acidity, because I don't want the acid level to be too high, otherwise it can kill off the yeast. And this time I'm not using a nylon straining bag. I'm going to use it at the end of the process. So when I filter it out, I'm going to strain it through a nylon bag at the very end. Quick review. I used a teaspoon of yeast nutrient, half teaspoon of pectin enzyme, 1 crushed Camden tablet, had 4 cups of water already in here because the recipe called for 12 cups of distilled water, but I used distilled water when I processed the Mexican plums, and that was to dilute them beforehand, so I didn't have to put as much water in here because I already did that when I was making the juice. So I'll add in the sugar, so 4 cups of sugar, and I'll mix this all together. And I'll let it set for 24 hours. Then I'll add my yeast. I'm using a store-bought yeast this time. But I've got to wait 24 hours so that Camden tablet can have an effect. I boiled distilled water in this pan to help sanitize it, mainly because I had ran out of some of the sanitizer that you use. So boiling water in here will help sanitize everything, and it works just as good, and it's cheaper. This is the Mexican plum, and it has really taken off. Like, the yeast is really starting to break that down. I had to put a little bit more distilled water because my first batch of yeast didn't take off. I think it was too acidic. I didn't have any pH strips or a pH tester present, so I ended up having to just do it, test it out, and see how it works.